The title of this video is Born Gay, Spirit Walk-ins. And this idea came from a friend of mine that was telling me about a friend of her who has a son that is believed to have been born gay, and he's always been drawn to the toys that were made for little girls, like dolls and things of that nature, soft things. And her nephew was going to buy a gift for this little boy. And the father of this child that is believed to have been born gay told her nephew to buy him something like dolls or a dollhouse or things that were created for girls, because these are things that this little boy likes. And then her nephew was like, I'm not buying that boy no dolls. I'm getting him some trucks. I'm getting him some cars, things like that. So it put a thought in her mind, or concern about children that were born gay, and she wanted to know, because children are innocent when they're brought in this world, why is it that this boy, this little boy that knew nothing about homosexuality, gender, things like that, why was he drawn to things that girls usually play with? And in my response, I believe that it's the learned behavior. And of course, there are things that happen in the womb, and there's things happen before the spirit actually enters the body of that woman that's pregnant with that child. But before I continue on, I want to read an article that I came across not long ago. And the title of this article is, Would You Be the Reason, you being the parent or the mother that's carrying the child, would you be the reason why your baby is born gay? Now I'm going to read a portion of this article, and it reads as follows. When based on a neurologist, the stress and smoking or having an amphetamine amount taken when you are pregnant is able to have a major role in your child's developed sexuality fetus. Would you be the reason why your child or your baby is born gay? And then it says, there are many academic studies to prove the claim, and that the brain, when affected by fetuses, starts to grow at 2 weeks. If you are introducing toxins into your body that would have an impact on your baby's development, but there are other reasons why your baby is born gay. This is how the article is written. The neurologist approves that pregnant women who suffer from stress are also way beyond prone to have homosexual children of both genders because of their increased cortisol, which is stress hormone. It will have an effect on the production of the usual sex hormones. Now, this article continues on, and I'll put a link to this article on the bottom. You guys can read it for yourself. So this article ties into some of the things that I'm about to say in this video. Now, I read this book, The Grail Message, in the Light of Truth, and I made reference to this video in the past about people that claim to have been born a homosexual. And according to these books, it says that while a woman is carrying the child, there may be a point in time where she although she may not be a lesbian, she may have lesbian thoughts or feelings. And her lesbian thoughts and feelings may affect the spirit that enters her womb. And the article says that, or better yet, the book that I read says that because of her thoughts and her feelings at the time that the soul enters the spirit, it determines what type of child she may produce. It may affect her pregnancy just by her having the thought or feeling of lesbianism, although she claims to not be a lesbian herself. So I've always said, and it has been proven in psychology, that the feelings and thoughts of a mother affects the development of their child. It affects the emotions of their children. Also, we're living in a time where so many women or females claim to be witches. There are so many females that are attracted to the unseen, the occult practices. Females that claim to have some type of mystic powers and they're communicating with unseen forces. Things that they think they understand, but in reality, they don't. So when they start dabbling into the dark arts, tarot cards, Ouija boards, seances, and trying to be a psychic, you're actually opening portals around you. You opening portals in your home. And you're exposing yourself and your children. And those that are around you, you're exposing them to dark forces, unseen spirits or unknown spirits. So witchcraft, voodoo or voodoo, Santeria, you're opening portals and putting your children in danger, especially if that woman is with child, if she's pregnant, if she's got a child in her womb. You're now opening a spirit to enter that child's womb. And I've always said, and there's people that disagree with me and don't like when I say that, but I say that plays into a whole thought and idea of demonic possession, where you have a man that takes on the spirit of a woman, or you have a woman or a girl that takes on the spirit of a boy. Now, there is such thing as walk-ins. There's such things as the transference of spirits, where you transfer one spirit to another spirit. And I've said in videos of the past that mothers have to be careful who's in their presence. You have people that love to rub the belly of a pregnant woman. In my own personal opinion, that's another way to transfer spirits onto someone else. And you may think that the reason why they're rubbing your stomach is because they're also celebrating you having a baby. But in reality, they have other ideas and thoughts and intentions. Because when you're dealing to witchcraft or dark forces, you deal with motive and intent. You have to have certain intentions for those things to start manifesting. So you can have a witch to rub your stomach and you may feel uneasy. Sometimes the mother will pick up on the uneasiness. but then they will quickly dismiss it or ignore it because that's their friend. But they have no idea what their friends do in the dark. They have no idea of the motive and intent that their friend have when they rub their belly, so they have an uncomfortable vibe. And have no idea that their friend is trying to put a baby or a spirit or transfer a spirit into her womb. So when you're dealing with witchcraft and dark energy, or women that deals with guys that claim to have some type of mystic power that's not coming from the Most High, and this dude is actually controlling her, putting things down for her, and there's women that do the same thing. They'll put things down for guys. And then when they have a child, they open these portals in their home, and then they wonder why their child now is starting to display characteristics of the other sex. The boy that was born as a boy, and now he's drawn to the things of girls. Or you may have a daughter that seems to be tomboyish, and then you want to claim that this child was born that way, when maybe they were born that way, but when they were conceived, when that child was conceived, it was not conceived that way. But at the time that the spirit was to enter that child, because yes, there are spirits that's waiting, or souls, the plane of souls where souls are waiting to be able to walk the earth, to operate in this realm of existence. And there's souls that's waiting, unclean spirits that's waiting, that have lived, that once lived on this earth and may feel within themselves that they have unfinished business to do. So the mother becomes possessed, or her womb becomes possessed, or what's in her womb becomes possessed. Or there are times where you may have a car accident. You may be sick. And you experience a near-death experience. And while you're starting to cross over and then you come back mysteriously, they say, because the doctors, and a lot of times it baffles the mind of the doctor because they medically lost you and then you came back. I shared a story of an incident that took place in one of the hospitals here locally some years ago. And there was a baby that was announced dead, and the baby was in the morgue for a few days. And one day the housekeeper, the janitor, was cleaning the room, and he heard movement in the middle of the night. So I'm sure it startled him, and he ran and got someone. They came back in, and it was a baby that was alive. They had medically announced this baby dead, but yet the child now is alive in the morgue. And even at that time when I read that article, I said, I wonder who entered that baby's soul. So you may have sickness or a car accident where you experience near-death experiences, and now you're back, but is it really you that's coming back? And I'm sure that that soul, that spirit that has taken over your body has now got access to all of your life's thoughts, experiences, emotions. But the thing that may stand out is that if the person never smoked, now they're smoking. If the person never cursed, now they're cursing. So now that body that the spirit had taken possession of now operating on earth, but yet it's not really the person that died and that came back. But there was a spirit that walked in at a certain time, at a very precise time, where that spirit walked into that body, and now that spirit now is able to function on this plane of existence. It can now have what you call a human experience or experiment. I'm going to say experiment and experience, because now it's experimenting what it's like to live on earth the second time, to be born again if you're coming through a child or a woman's womb. So a woman has to be really careful or mindful how she conduct herself when she's with child, when she's pregnant. And maybe at some level, the sperm of the man also affects that, because the father himself may have homosexual tendencies or emotions or thoughts or idea. So I'm not just going to put that solely on the women, because the man may have some doing or some say, which he does because it's his sperm. The sperm that attaches itself to the woman's egg. So if that father has some type of homosexual desires, although he may claim to be a heterosexual, that may affect his child. Or if the father himself is dabbling into witchcraft or sorcery, or some form of ancestral religions, that will also affect his seed. So now your child may have certain gifts or talents that did not come from God. But choices that child makes as it grows will determine his or her salvation. So I found that to be quite interesting when it comes to babies that are claimed to have been born gay. Yes, I'm sure they can be born gay. But at the time of conception, at the time where the plane of souls, where the child now actually enters, the soul, the spirit actually enters that fetus that is alive. When that soul or spirit enters that body, who is really taking possession of that child? And that determined upon the moms and how she thinks or how she feels. You have to control your emotions and your thoughts. Because I'm sure if you're violent at heart, that child may be born violent and aggressive, and usually starts out by hitting back at the mother. So feedback, tell me what you think, subscribe, click on the Cash App, support this channel, and watch the whole video. Just don't comment according to the title of the video. And being that I'm mentioning this at the end of the video, I'm sure somebody's going to make a comment because they didn't watch the whole video. So like, share, subscribe, click on the Cash App, support the channel. Until next time, I'm fearless.